In the heart of every home, the kitchen stands as a sanctuary, a place where the mundane transform into the extraordinary through the simple act of cooking. For many, the thought of preparing a meal can evoke feelings of anxiety, especially when faced with intricate recipes that require a myriad of ingredients and hours of preparation. However, cooking doesn't have to be a daunting task. In fact, some of the most delightful meals, can be crafted with minimal effort and a handful of ingredients. This narrative will explore a collection of easy recipes that not only satisfy hunger, but also foster a sense of accomplishment and creativity. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow through the kitchen window, Sarah found herself staring at the contents of her pantry. It was a Saturday morning, and she had resolved to make breakfast that would set the tone for a relaxing weekend. She scanned the shelves and spotted a bag of oats, a jar of honey, and a few ripe bananas sitting on the counter. With a spark of inspiration, she decided to whip up a batch of banana oat pancakes. The beauty of banana oat pancakes lay in their simplicity. Sarah mashed the bananas in a bowl, their sweetness filling the air. She added the oats, a pinch of baking powder, and a splash of milk, stirring until the mixture was just combined. The batter was thick and fragrant, and she couldn't help but smile at how easy it was. After heating a non-stick skillet, she poured small rounds of batter onto the surface, watching as they bubbled and turned golden brown. Flipping them was a joy. They were fluffy and perfectly cooked. Served with a drizzle of honey and a sprinkle of cinnamon, the pancakes were a delightful start to the day, reminding Sarah that sometimes the simplest recipes yield the most satisfying results. With breakfast behind her, Sarah felt invigorated and decided to tackle lunch next. She had a few vegetables in the fridge that needed to be used, a bell pepper, a zucchini, and some cherry tomatoes. She envisioned a colorful vegetable stir-fry, a dish that always seemed to brighten her mood. The beauty of stir-frying was that it allowed for flexibility. She could use whatever vegetables she had on hand. She sliced the bell pepper and zucchini into bite-sized pieces and halved the cherry tomatoes. In a large pan, she heated a tablespoon of olive oil until it shimmered, then added the vegetables, letting them sizzle as they cooked. The vibrant colors danced in the pan, and the aroma filled the kitchen. Sarah added a splash of soy sauce and a sprinkle of garlic powder, stirring everything together until the vegetables were tender yet crisp. Served over a bed of rice, the stir-fry was a celebration of freshness and flavor, proving that a healthy meal could be both effortless and delicious. As the afternoon sun began to wane, Sarah felt a twinge of hunger again. She decided it was time for a snack, and her eyes fell upon a bag of chickpeas in her pantry. An idea struck her: roasted chickpeas. They were not only a nutritious option, but also incredibly easy to prepare. She rinsed and drained the chickpeas, then patted them dry with a towel. Tossing them in a bowl with olive oil, salt, and a generous sprinkle of paprika, she spread them out on a baking sheet and popped them into the oven. As they roasted, the kitchen filled with a warm, nutty aroma. Sarah was amazed at how such a simple ingredient could transform into something so delightful. After 20 minutes, she pulled the chickpeas from the oven, their skins crisp to perfection. She let them cool slightly before indulging in the crunchy, savory snack. Each bite was a reminder that healthy eating didn't have to be boring. It could be fun and satisfying. With the sun setting, Sarah began to contemplate dinner. She wanted something hearty and comforting, yet easy to prepare. She glanced at the chicken breast in her fridge and decided to make a simple lemon-herb chicken. She seasoned the chicken with salt, pepper, and a blend of dried herbs, oregano, thyme, and rosemary. A squeeze of fresh lemon juice added brightness to the dish. In a skillet, she heated a bit more olive oil and seared the chicken breasts until golden brown on both sides. The sound of sizzling filled the air, and she couldn't help but feel proud of her culinary skills. Once cooked through, she removed the chicken from the skillet and let it rest while she prepared a quick side salad with the remaining vegetables in her fridge: cucumbers, carrots, and a handful of mixed greens. The salad was dressed simply with olive oil, vinegar, and a sprinkle of salt. Together with the chicken, it made for a wholesome meal that was both satisfying and nourishing. As she sat down to eat, Sarah reflected on how easy it was to create a delicious dinner without a complicated recipe. It was moments like these that reminded her of the joy of cooking at home. As the evening drew on, Sarah found herself feeling inspired to explore new flavors. She had always been fascinated by the versatility of pasta, and with a box of spaghetti in her pantry, she decided to make a quick garlic and olive oil pasta. She boiled the spaghetti until al dente, then drained it, reserving a bit of the pasta water. In the same pot, she heated olive oil and added minced garlic, letting it sizzle until fragrant. Tossing the spaghetti back into the pot, she added a splash of the reserved pasta water, along with a sprinkle of red pepper flakes for a hint of heat. A handful of fresh parsley from her window herb garden added a burst of color and flavor. The dish was simple yet elegant, and as she twirled the pasta onto her fork, she marveled at how a few basic ingredients could create such a delightful meal. With dinner complete, Sarah felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. She had navigated the day with ease, crafting meals that nourished her body and soul. But as the night wore on, she couldn't shake the feeling that something sweet was missing. She rummaged through her kitchen and found a box of brownie mix tucked away in the corner. It was a moment of serendipity. Brownies were the perfect way to end her day. Following the instructions on the box, she quickly mixed the ingredients together, adding a handful of chocolate chips for extra indulgence. As the brownies baked, the rich chocolate aroma wafted through the kitchen, making her heart flutter with anticipation. When they were finally ready, she cut them into squares and savored the first bite. The fudgy texture and deep chocolate flavor were a heavenly conclusion to her day of simple cooking. As Sarah cleaned up her kitchen, she reflected on the ease and joy of preparing meals at home. Each recipe she had made that day was not only straightforward, but also allowed her to experiment and enjoy the process. Cooking was more than just a means to satisfy hunger. It was a creative outlet, a way to express love for herself and those around her. In the days that followed, Sarah continued to explore easy recipes, each one a new adventure. She discovered the magic of one-pan meals, where everything cooked together, infusing flavors and saving time on dishes. A simple chicken and vegetable bake became a staple, with whatever vegetables she had on hand tossed with olive oil, herbs, and chicken thighs, all roasted to perfection. She also delved into the world of soups, where a pot of broth could transform into a comforting meal with just a few ingredients. A classic tomato soup became a favorite, made with canned tomatoes, garlic, and basil, blended until smooth and served with a drizzle of cream. It was a hug in a bowl, warming her on chilly evenings. As the seasons changed, Sarah embraced the bounty of fresh produce. In the summer, she made refreshing salads with ripe tomatoes, cucumbers, and feta cheese, drizzled with a homemade vinaigrette. In the fall, she experimented with hearty stews, where root vegetables and beans simmered together in a rich broth, filling her home with warmth and aroma. Through her culinary journey, Sarah learned that cooking was not just about following recipes, but about being present in the moment, experimenting, and allowing creativity to flourish. Each dish she prepared was a reflection of her mood, her surroundings, and the ingredients she had on hand. The kitchen became a canvas, and with each meal, she painted a picture of nourishment, comfort, and joy. As she continued to explore new recipes, Sarah found herself sharing her culinary creations with friends and family. She hosted casual dinners where everyone contributed a dish, and together they reveled in the simple pleasure of good food and laughter. The connections forged over shared meals deepened her appreciation for the act of cooking, transforming it into a communal experience. In time, Sarah became known among her friends as the go-to person for easy, delicious recipes. She would often receive texts asking for her favorite quick meals or ideas for last-minute gatherings. With each request, she felt a sense of pride, knowing that she had turned her initial struggle with cooking into a passion that inspired others. As she looked back on her journey, Sarah realized that the heart of cooking at home lay in its simplicity. The easy recipes she had embraced not only filled her stomach, but also nurtured her spirit. They taught her that food could provide comfort, creativity, and connection. With every pancake, stir-fry, and bowl of soup, she celebrated the beauty of home cooking, one easy recipe at a time. Thank you for watching the video. If you find it interesting and meaningful, please give us a like to motivate us, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other exciting videos. Goodbye, and see you next time.